beautiful change maker. Hello, welcome back to the change making series, and I'm really super excited. I think this will be my favorite episode because I'm not teaching, I'm answering questions. So I have 100 questions here, 100 questions that maybe that question, trust me, if your question is not here, you can still put in the comment section and I will totally reply. But we have 100 questions here about change making, starting a career, storytelling, impacts, and lots more. Yeah, I feel really excited to answer these questions because I want you to grow, learn, develop, and thrive as a change maker. As usual, before I spill out my secrets, please hit that subscribe button, please. Like, turn on the notification bell because I don't want you to miss out on any new change making updates, not just change making series, okay? But maybe if I have this new occasion and I want to share with you all that may inspire or impact you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, journey with me is extremely fun. Okay, let's start. Let's dive into today's top 100 questions. Very excited. So I'm starting from 100 to number 1. Okay. So 100. This person asks, can I do change making through creative expressions? Looking at me. I do what do you think I would answer? Yes! You can do change making through creative expressions. Who said change making is always scientific reports or IBCC trends? Who said change making is always about statistics, what the UN says? No! As an artist, you can do change making. You can tell stories, you can use literature, you can use music. There are lots of songs out there that are aimed at solving particular problems in society, but they use music. That's a creative expression. I'm an artivist. I use art, I use animations, there's literature. These are beautiful instruments that make your change making very fun and creative. So the answer is yes, you can do change making through creative expressions. And so for some people, that is their UVP, unique value propositions. Okay. Wait, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Creative expressions. Yes. Over drama, there are stories that actually portray society, that are aimed at tackling a lot of problems and change making through creative expression. Yeah, have you heard of, okay, not have you heard, everybody knows Black Panther film. And if you notice, Black Panther was centered on Africa with more technological advanced nations. It's focused on community, diversity, culture, and lots more. So that's actually change making in the sense of creative expressions. And there's this movie, The Herd, there's this song, Make Success or Make an Impact, something like that. Then we have Carmageddon. These are work of art that are focused on tackling societal problems. And another reason why Michael Jackson was popular is because some of his songs were targeted at the government, it was targeted at society. So yes, you can do change making through creative expressions. Over my book Amama is very, very interesting, and it's art, it's literature. So the next question is, how do I build a career in humanitarian work? Very simple. So if you're just starting and you've already worked for organizations and all that, I think the first thing you need to do, I'm speaking from my own perspective, is volunteering. By volunteering, you're creating that network, you're creating that opportunity for yourself to explore the world or the field of humanitarian work. Yes. So volunteering plays a huge role, and also by applying for different programs, following all these organizations, like not just UN bodies but different organizations, they provide different opportunities for young people. So I think that from volunteering to searching for opportunities, applying, and you could also create your own opportunities in the field of humanitarian work. This is why I always advise people. Of course, applications will reject you, but what makes you truly passionate about the field you are entering is creating opportunities for yourself. Then, what's the role of storytelling in social change? Storytelling fosters empathy. Storytelling is something that hits the hearts of people. Let me use my area, climate change, for instance. Now, in the Niger Delta region, one of the world's most endangered regions, we suffer drastically from oil pollution, and it has affected lots of us. It has affected the native. Many children are suffering from asthma, and worst of all, biodiversity is dying here. Majority of the population have hydrocarbons in their system. Each day, we do not know what to do. We are silently dying, and the world is not paying attention to us. So, how do you feel after I told that? You got a clearer view of the Niger Delta, right? Now, what if I said Niger Delta, over hundreds and thousands of oil spills have happened, hundreds of people died? It's just statistics. Now tell me, the story I told and the data that was given, which one did you feel more emotional to? It was indeed the story, and so I had to use this to explain to you that storytelling plays a huge role in social change. Storytelling is able to hit someone's heart. It's able to make someone feel, ouch. So this is really what is happening. These are children suffering from displacement. These are children that are suffering from cultural disputes and all that. So storytelling plays a huge role in social change, as it allows people to see the bigger vision, the clearer image. It allows them to look at the problem from a different perspective. So yes, storytelling plays a huge role in social change. How do I engage with impact investing? Beautiful question. How do you engage with impact investing? That you want to create impact. And I think it all boils down to your why, your problem, your solution, and understanding the audience. So if you really want to know more about this impact, please check out the previous video, which was focused on building a social impact project. I really said a lot of things there about how you could make your project very impactful, or how you can engage people with impact, setting smart, measurable, attainable goals. So, can I do social impact through corporate social responsibility? Yes. Very sure you can. See, the thing is that social impact, that's the beauty of social impact. It doesn't limit you to a particular area. You can be a medical doctor, you're still doing social impact. You can be a humanitarian, you're doing social impact. You can be a lawyer, you can be an engineer, a teacher, anything. Social impact does not restrict you to a particular line of study or particular field. Social impact comes from the heart. So whether you're going to social corporate responsibility or anything, just know that yes, you can. You can bridge social impact with anything. How do I create impact through community organizing? Understand your audience. Make sure that you use human-centered designs. Human-centered designs are designs that focus more on human needs, human wants. It makes sure that your solution is feasible, very sustainable, adaptable, and empathetic. The question is, how do I deal with ethical dilemmas in social impact? So I work with a lot of indigenous people in the climate sector, and I discovered that of course there'll be cultural biases, there'll be a lot of things that may hinder your project and all that, but it all boils down to your communication strategy. How do you effectively communicate with these people? And also discovering the root source of why this problem exists, trying to foster diversity and inclusivity in your project. These are ways of actually tackling ethical dilemmas. Then can I do questions just for us to be fast? I'll just answer yes or no, because these are things that we should know. Can I do change making through public speaking? Yes. Your voice is very powerful. You can use it to advocate. It creates a ripple effect. When you talk, people want to listen, and it's a way of fostering systemic changes. Just talking about those major problems, people in society tend to understand. Then, how do I create impact through social entrepreneurship? Very simple. You could earn money at the same time you're working on change-making projects. That's social entrepreneurship. So how do you create impact with it? Make sure that your business, your startup, whatever thing you're working on, you're centering it on, make sure that it relates to maybe one of the sustainable development goals. It solves a particular problem. So I always like using climate change because that's my area of expertise. So in the climate sector, we have lots of people who design waste to fashion, we have recycling, and they generate revenue from it, but at the same time they are trying to build a net zero world. So that's how you can create social impact through social entrepreneurship. Then the next one is, let me go up. The next one is, what skills do I need for a career in sustainability? What skills? Let me think. There are a lot of skills. I can't just mention that these are the exact skills, but if you want to enter the field of sustainability, of course, knowledge. You need that knowledge. You need a lot. You need to be knowledgeable about the area. Then, as for skill, you need to be creative, because there are a lot of people in this field. But what makes you stand out is your UVP, so you have to be creative. Also, hands-on skills, depending on where the sector you're entering. Skill. It depends solely based on your project. Okay. The project that you're working on depends on the skills you have. But if you're talking about sustainability in that, I think the most important thing you need to do is have the knowledge of sustainability. Be creative, have leadership qualities. When you say leadership qualities, it doesn't always mean that you're always the one leading, but always remember to listen attentively, contribute. Also, decision-making skills. These are very important things that helps you in your change making or career in sustainability. Can I make a difference without a non-profit job? Exactly. Have you heard of the butterfly effect? Basically, the butterfly effect talks about small actions that are able to create ripple effects. Like a butterfly flapping its wings in one side of the world is able to cause a tornado in the other side. So that's what. So you don't actually need to be working in an organization. You must not have a non-profit job, but your individual actions can actually create an impact. How do I find change-making internships? LinkedIn. What's the best way to network in social impacts? Attend conferences, attend events. These are very important things, especially local events, because it helps you to build connections with local leaders, people who have the same like minds with you. So make sure to attend conferences, events. Model UN, very important. If you have Model UN in your areas, make sure to attend. Commissioning of projects. These are places that you could actually network in social impact. Can I do change making with a normal job? Yes, you can. Butterfly effect. Remember, it doesn't matter the type of job you have, but the individual actions. How do I measure impacts in my career? Always make sure to take note of important activities you've done. We have qualitative and quantitative impacts. The qualitative impact now, how many people have you impacted? Like, what did you do? What were the changes you saw? Then impact, the quantitative impact, how many people did you reach? Your social media platforms and all that. Then can I be a change maker if I'm introverted? Yes, you can be a change maker if you're introverted, but please remember to tell your story. I know you may not like speaking, you may not like associating with people, but as you're carrying out those little acts of change making, those big acts of change making, remember to tell your story. You know, you must always show your face. You can be like, I'm a black change maker. They don't see my face, but they see my impact, they see my actions. Yes, you can be a change maker if you're introverted. How do I find my passion for social impact? What is the problem that affects you the most? Start from there, understand your why, look at your community, and then see if you start building that passion. Do I need a master's degree for social impact? Who said social impact needed academic results? Anybody can be a social impact. Even if you did not go to, everybody can be a social impact. This is what you people, of course. Anybody, without whether you went to school or not, you can be a change maker. You can start social impact. Which one is master's degrees? No, do I have a master's degree? Then how do I talk about change making in job interviews? Well, maybe when you're introducing yourself, you talk about maybe that this is what. But remember that for any job interview you're going for, make sure to align what you're saying to what the job requires you to say. Like if the job did not ask you about anything, make sure to stick to it. But at the end, they always ask what else do you have to say. Then you could just be like, I'm also a change maker, I'm passionate about these things. Or your introduction, or maybe as you're answering questions, you can fit it in. How do I collaborate with NGOs? Write them an email. Or contact them to social media. But sometimes organizations actually call for partners, call for collaborations, then you can apply. What's the role of advocacy in change making? Change making, you're creating a change. So advocacy, you're actually raising awareness. So by raising awareness, you're creating the change. So that's the connection. How do I stay motivated in change making? Remember your why. Remember the millions of people who are suffering from this problem. And remember your goals. That's why I say always set smart goals. Do I need to be an expert to make change? No. How do I leverage social media for change making? Tell your story. Do you know that egalitarianism for Earth started as just an Instagram account? That's a fun fact about egalitarianism for Earth. So social media is the best way to leverage to enter the field of change making. Can I do change making in small towns? Yes, they need you a lot. What's the role of art in social change? It's able to evoke empathy. Can I make a difference in big corporation? Remember, your ideas sell you out. What you say sell you out, not just who you are, right? Yes, those ideas, not just, when I mean who you are, not just those your achievements and all that, but your ideas, your vision. These are things that sell you out and would make you have that big difference in the big corporation. And also, when they are doing decision making processes, always to share your perspective, your ideas. Remember, no idea is invalid. What's the role of government in change making? What do you think government is supposed to do? Provision of social amenities in developing countries. We need government to support educational infrastructures, climate financing. These are things that government has to do. Government has so much to do when we're talking about change making, empowerment of people, diversification of various economies. These are things government needs to do. Like, they are also supposed to be at the heart of it because they have the power, they have the resources. So yeah. What's the best way to learn about social issues? Listen to the news, connect with locals, and social media. Can I do change making through research? I think I've answered this question. How do I create impact in a virtual world? You know that what I'm doing right now is actually creating impact because I'm educating people and it's still in a virtual space, right? I'm not living in my house, I'm doing this video in my house, I'm still teaching about change making, so I'm creating impact in the virtual space. Egalitarianism for Earth hosts workshops, webinars online, lots of organizations. We have online communities, we have research, we have blogs that are for education and lots more. So you can actually create impact. You know, you can write open letters, you can publicize things. These are things you could do online. Create that virtual impact. What's the role of storytelling? Done. How do I partner with businesses for social good? I told you that you can always write to them, and if they're really sincere about it, they'll really reply. Can I do change making through design? Yes. What's the impact of climate change on careers? I love this question. So, impact of climate change on careers. First of all, let's look at petroleum engineering and the rest. We discovered that they are contributing greatly to climate change in the region, and so it's not really an eco-friendly job. Climate change also affects farmers. So climate change, this impact differs. So we have the careers that are causing climate change, and we have the careers that are suffering greatly from climate change. Suffering greatly are farmers, local indigenous people who work in this agricultural sector, because this holiday harmattan did not come, and let's say a crop that needed this harmattan season to grow, maybe it did not grow, maybe due to the rain it affected a lot of crops that are not supposed to take too much intake of water. That's how climate change affected local farmers. We also have businesses. Climate change affects a lot of businesses. So the idea is that we want to create that circular economy and promote green jobs. An organization that really works to promoting green jobs is the Ban Ki-moon Center. So you could check them out and see what they're doing. How do I engage people in social issues? Use your voice. Can I do change making through policy? Exactly. We need system changes. What's the role of innovation in change making? Tech. Tech plays a huge role. Tech is, we have technological innovations. They play a huge role because, tech contributes to a lot of problems, and we also have people who are using tech to solve these problems. But when you hear the word innovation, it doesn't really... tech is the first thing that came to my mind, but innovation is something new, and we need new things that could also help impact the system, so they play a major role. How do I deal with uncertainty in social impact? How do you deal with uncertainty? Always remember that no idea is invalid, and you're powerful, you're capable enough to create that change. How do I build a change-making mindset? Look at the world from a different perspective. Don't look at it as things that are common, identify problems, and that change making mindset is when you see that problem, tackle the problem, say something about it. You're building a change making mindset, you're connecting, you're fostering empathy, you're building teams, and there's leadership in you. So yes, how do I engage with diverse stakeholders? Communication. So if you notice about these questions, I'm going to group these questions. So many people are asking, can I do social impact through business? Can I do through journalism? Any question you see like this, yes. Change making doesn't require a degree or a course. Social impact is very diverse, so no matter where you are, you can do it. So I've answered like up to 20 questions that I have. Can I do? Yes, you can. And how do I build a career in environmentalism? I told you, volunteer, start projects and all that. And the last question for today, let me check. I want a new question. Yes, how do I deal burnout in social impact? So yes, you have a lot of projects, but always remember to take rest. Just one rest shouldn't affect your projects. Instead, to empower you, to charge you more to keep doing, because a sound health leads to sound projects. So dealing with burnout, do not be too hard on yourself. Take time and all that. And yeah, I've answered a lot of questions regarding change making, and I hope that if your question is not here, please write it in the comment section. I want to answer every question regarding change making for you. And another thing I wanted to say is that remember that change making and social impact, no matter where you are, is a very flexible field, so you could actually work in this area. Thank you, and remember to kick off your change making journey.